A famous Korean chef once smirked into the camera and said, "Filipino adobo has no soul. It's just salty meat in brown sauce." The studio audience laughed. The hosts grinned awkwardly. And on the other side of the world, in a small barangay in Batangas, a 72-year-old Filipino grandmother named Lola'S paused mid-jump, staring at the TV in disbelief. No soul. She looked at the simmering pot on her stove, at the steam-carrying memories of birthdays, funerals, reunions, breakups. This was the dish that fed her children when money was tight, that brought neighbors together during blackouts, that welcomed balikbayans home from abroad. If that wasn't so, what was? Her grandson Paulo, a college student who loved watching cooking shows, slammed the remote. "Lo, did you hear that? He said adobo is flat. He said it tastes like nothing special." Lola'S wiped her hands on her apron. "Anak, hindi naman niya tayo kilala. He doesn't know us. How can he know our food?" Paulo hesitated. "Lola, they're hosting a global cooking challenge next month. Viewers can nominate someone to compete against him with a home dish. They'll pick 3 entries from around the world." He looked at her shyly. What if I send them your adobo?" She laughed at first. A small, tired laugh. "Me. I'm not a chef. I just cook. That's the point," Paulo said. "He said home food has no soul. Let's show him." They filmed the entry video in their tiny kitchen with a cheap phone. No ring lights, no professional microphones, just fluorescent bulbs, old tiles, and the sound of chickens outside. In the video, Paulo spoke in simple English. "Hello, my name is Paulo from the Philippines, and this is my grandmother, Nina. This is her adobo. Our family has eaten this for 50 years. My Lolo ate this before he went to sea. My mom ate this before every exam. When we have nothing, we have this. When we celebrate, we still have this. You said adobo has no soul. We want to show you our soul." Then the camera turned to Lola'S, who smiled shyly and said in accented English, "Chef, come. I cook for you." They sent the video and forgot about it. Weeks went by. Life went on. The adobo still simmered on Sundays. The TV still played cooking shows. Then, one evening, Paulo's phone buzzed with an email notification. His hands shook as he read it. "Dear Paulo and Mrs. Nina, congratulations. You have been selected to represent the Philippines in our global Soul of Food Challenge." He screamed. His mother ran in. Lola dropped the spoon. For the first time in years, the house was louder than the noisy tricycles outside. The show flew them to Seoul. It was Lola's first time leaving the country. On the plane, she clutched her rosary and whispered prayers. Paulo held her hand and explained the schedule. "Lola, there will be cameras, lights, judges from many countries. The Korean chef will cook his version of adobo. You will cook yours. The audience will taste both without knowing whose is whose." She shrugged. "Okay. I just cook like I always do." Studio day arrived. The set gleamed with stainless steel and overhead lights. The audience buzzed with excitement. Paulo adjusted Lola's borrowed coat. Producers pinned a microphone on her blouse. Backstage, the famous Korean chef, Chef Ji-ho, glanced at them briefly. He was tall, sharp-featured, wearing a spotless white jacket covered in awards and sponsor logos. He nodded politely but didn't extend his hand. One of the hosts briefed him. "This is our Filipino home cook challenger." Ji-ho smirked slightly. Adobo, right? Good comfort food, but simple, easy. Let's make a show. They took their places at the separate stations. Cameras rolled. The music blared. The host shouted, "Welcome to the Soul of Food Global Challenge." The host reintroduced the controversy, playing the clip of Gio saying, "Adobo has no soul." The audience laughed. Online comments flashed on the screen, some mocking Filipino food, others defending it. Then the host turned to Lola. "Today, from the Philippines, we have your Lola." The camera zoomed in on her weathered hands and gentle smile. "Lola Nina," the host said, "what would you like to say to Chef Jiho?" She looked at him directly. "Chef," she said in halting English, "maybe you tasted adobo, but you did not taste my adobo yet." The crowd. Jiho raised an eyebrow. The challenge began. 90 minutes, one dish. 2 worlds. Chef Jiho moved like a dancer. He marinated pork belly in soy, garlic, and honey. He added truffle oil, infused his vinegar with smoke, plated in geometric shapes. Assistants swarmed round him. He never looked uncertain. At the other station, Lola moved slower.steady.com. She did not reach for timers or scales. She reached for memory. She chose a humble mix of pork and chicken. She crushed garlic with the side of her knife, not in a press. She used cane vinegar from a brand she recognized, and a soy sauce she trusted. She added bay leaves and whole peppercorns by feel. Salt by feel. Water by feel. The producer whispered in her ear, "Can you explain what you're doing, Lola?" She nodded and spoke in Tagalog, Paolo translating. "First, you talk to the meat," she said. "You say, 'Pasencia Kona.' How? I will make you delicious." Then you fry it aromatizing sia to wake it up. The audience laughed softly, charmed. Jiho flambéed. He sous-vided. He used tweezers. He looked like a modern god of cuisine. Lola browned her meat until the edges caught just enough. She poured in vinegar and did not stir. The hostess, "Why? Never mix until the suka finishes getting angry," she said. "If you disturb it too early, it will sulk. The flavor will be more popular." They asked how she knew. She tapped her chest. "My tongue remembers. My heart remembers." She added soy, water, sugar, just a pinch. She tasted, adjusted, tasted again. She didn't measure with spoons. She measured with stories. "My Lolo liked it more masim," she said. "My daughter likes it more matamis. Today, maybe the chef needs both. He is used to rich food. I will give him something simple but deep." The studio began to fill with smell. On one side, Jiho's station gave off intense aromatic complexity, smoked vinegar, seared fat, expensive oils. On the other, Lola's pot quietly filled the air with something harder to describe. The smell of home, of rice cookers beeping, of rainy afternoons and family tables. Even crew members began to drift closer to her station. Time ticked down. 10 minutes. 5.3. Jiho plated his adobo in a modern style, tiny cubes of pork ranged on a diagonal streak of sauce, microgreens, gold leaf. It was art. Lola simply spooned her adobo into a shallow bowl, added sauce until the meat glistened, and placed a small mound of steaming white rice beside it. On top of the rice, she put a single fried garlic chip. "Hera hindi siya mag-isa," she said. So it's not alone. The blind tasting began. 5 judges from different countries sat behind a frosted panel. They couldn't see which dish belonged to whom. Each dish was labeled only as plate A and plate B. They tasted plate of first chef Jiho's. Impressed nods. Comments of complex, refined, clever use of acid. They liked it. It was good. It was exactly what they expected from a star chef. Then they moved to plate B Lola'S. The first judge, a French critic known for brutal reviews, took a bite. His fork stopped midair. He closed his eyes. Slowly, his shoulders fell, as if some invisible weight had lifted. "This," he whispered, "this tastes like my grandmother's cooking. But my grandmother never made this." "How is that possible?" The Japanese judge tasted next. Tears welled instantly. "It's not the flavor only," she said, voice shaking. "It is memory.warp. It is like being 10 years old and running inside from the rain." The American judge laughed through a stuffed mouth. "This is the kind of food you eat when the world has kicked you all day, and you think you're done. And then someone says, 'King now. You are home now.'" The Korean judge hesitated, skeptical. He took a bite, ready to be clinical. Instead, the studio watched his face change. Something softened. His eyes glistened. "I've had many adobos," he said slowly, "but none like this. This one is alive. It keeps changing as you chew. First salty, then sour, then sweet, then something I can't name. It feels like a song." Finally, all eyes turned to the last judge, Chef Jiho himself. He picked up his fork with a kind of stubborn pride, as if daring the food to move him. He took a bite, and everything stopped. No one spoke. No one breathed. The camera zoomed in. He chewed once, twice. His jaw slewed. His eyes flicked upward and focused, as if looking at something far away. His hand trembled slightly as he lowered the fork. In that moment, in front of millions watching live, the man who had said adobo had no soul started to cry. A single tear slipped down his cheek. Then another. He wiped them away quickly, embarrassed, but it was too late. The world had seen. The host, stunned, broke the silence. "Chef, are you okay?" Jiho laughed weakly, voice rough. "I'm not sure. What are you feeling?" The host asked gently. He swallowed hard. "My mother died when I was 17. He said, words slow, each one dragged from somewhere deep. She made a beef stew every winter. I never learned the recipe. I've eaten in the best restaurants in the world trying to chase that feeling. Warmth. Safety. Being loved without having to earn it." He looked at the bowl of Lola'S adobo. "This doesn't taste like her stew, but it brought her back. For the first time in 20 years, I feel like I'm sitting at her table again." His voice broke. "If that's not soul, then I don't know what is." The studio exploded in applause. The frosted panel rose slowly, revealing Lola'S standing there, small and steady, hands clasped. Chef Jiho stood up instinctively. Without thinking, he bowed deeply to her. The kind of bow reserved for masters. "I was wrong," he said, this time without cameras in mind. "Not just about adobo, about all the food I called simple. I forgot that food is not a trick. It is a memory. You reminded me." He walked up to her. "May I hug you?" She smiled and opened her arms. "Sage," she said softly, "come. You need Lola." The crowd laughed and wiped their eyes at the same time. After the show, the internet erupted. Clips of the Korean chef crying over adobo racked up millions of views. Comments flooded in. I'm not Filipino, but I need that adobo in my life. Never underestimate Lola level cooking. Global chefs need to eat humble pie and adobo. Food writers declared it the moment Filipino cuisine stepped onto the world's emotional stage. Restaurants around the globe added their takes on adobo to their menus. But for Filipinos watching at home, something more important happened. Kids who once hid their bayoni in school suddenly posted their adobo lunches proudly. OFWS shared photos of adobo in plastic containers, captioned "My real comfort food." Families debated whose Lola made the best version. Not out of shame, but out of joy. Back in Batangas, life returned to normal. Almost. Lola still woke at 5. Still went to the palanque. Still haggled over garlic and bay leaves. But now, once a week, strangers showed up at her modest home. Korean tourists, food vloggers, even other grandmothers. "I saw you on TV," they'd say. "Can you teach me?" She would laugh and shake her head. There is nothing to teach. You sauté garlic. You put meat. You add suka and toyo. The rest, she'd tap her chest again. Is here. One afternoon, a letter arrived. It was from Chef Tiho. "Dear Lola," it read, "I have started a new segment on my show where I visit home cooks around Asia to learn from them, not teach them. The first episode was your adobo. I showed my mother's empty chair. I told them you helped me fill it, just a little. My ratings are higher than ever, but for once, I don't care. I just want to say thank you for giving my cooking its soul back." He ended with one line. "Next time, I'll come to Batangas. This time, I'll be the student." She chuckled and handed the letter to Paolo. "Anik," she said, "imagine that. The chef who said adobo has no soul is now looking for his soul in our kitchen." Paolo grinned. "No, the world finally knows what we always knew. Our food is not fancy, but it is real." She nodded. "And real is enough. So the next time someone calls your food to simple, your culture to plain, your dish without soul, remember this story. Remember a Lola in a small Filipino kitchen making a pot of adobo that could make a world-class chef cry on live TV. Because sometimes the richest flavor in any dish isn't in the ingredients at all. It's in the hands that cook it, the stories behind it, and the people it brings back to the table. And that is something no critic can ever measure.